What's up?
I feel like we've been talking about this fight for a long time, but now that it's only a few days removed, what are the emotions now that you're about to fight TJ Dillashaw in co-main event here in Abu Dhabi?
I'm excited, man. Great opportunity to fight a guy who's been a mainstay in the division, who's done a ton of work, beat a lot of people up, and who people regard as one of the best bantamweights of all time. So for me to go out there and take out a guy like TJ, I think that puts me up there with the conversation.
Well, he was in here and he said he actually considers himself already to just be the greatest bantamweight of all time. So I'm curious how you would rate his skill set overall now compared to your past opponents.
Rate his skill set? I mean, he had a 5-round war with the guy I finished in under 2 minutes, you know? So no disrespect to Sandhagen. Sandhagen obviously evolved and kept getting better. And you see TJ, I don't know if he's the same TJ of old who had that crazy run. And that's just being honest. But I still think he's talented. He's tough. He showed that he's durable, showed that he won't quit. And I think it's going to be a good fight. And I just can't wait to just put my hands on the guy and actually see what he's all about.
Well, he was in here and he said he actually thinks, in his words, that you have a quit button, and that's what he wants to find in there. So what's your response to that?
Show me a fight where I quit. Show me one fight where I quit, where I said, hey, I'm going to pack it in, turn over, and go home. Hey, ref, I'm going to cover up and pretend I can't defend myself a fight anymore because I'm tired, and I'm just going to just roll over and wait for the ref to save me, and then get up and go, what happened? What happened? What? I was still fighting. Like, what fight have I ever done that? You know, so he's just, I don't know. For him to go out and say he's the greatest bantamweight of all time right now, that just shows his arrogance, which is exactly what I talk about. And I can't wait to just bring him a little bit of humble pie.
And you're also in a unique position where usually if a champion wins, there's a debate over who gets the next shot. But Dana White came out and said that the winner of the Jan O'Malley fight will fight the winner of your fight against TJ. So what do you make of that matchup and who you see moving on?
Man, Dana says a lot of things. So we still got the machine right here. So we'll see what happens and go from there. I got to get the job done and win first. And O'Malley and Jan, that fight has to be good as well. So that fight could be a snooze fest. We don't know. And if it does end up turning into be that, I guarantee Dana changes his tune. So it just all depends. Not every fight's going to be a barn burner. So I just got to go out there, do my job, handle my business, and then go from there. I'm not looking past TJ right now. I need to get past this guy. I need to skin the snake and just shut this guy up for good.
Aljo, obviously you said that you have some queries about he might still be, doing some stuff behind the scenes. He said up here that he thinks that's just kind of mind games. You're maybe just trying to get under his skin. Is it mind games, or is that you just stating your opinion?
That's me just stating my opinion. I mean, his teammates already outed him, saying that he's been doing it since he came from college wrestling. I mean, what more proof do people need, It's not my words, it's their words. Those are guys that he's trained with in those rooms and bled with and sweated with. So if he could do all those things with those people and they said that about him, I mean, why would they lie? So Mr. Needleshaw, he's been doing it for a while. I don't think he stopped. But regardless, I'm content with knowing that I'm going to get in there with him regardless. And whatever happens, I'm not going to make an excuse to say it's because of this. I have no idea. I'm going to fight him regardless, though. Hopefully he's not, and we get a fair fight. And if he is and I beat him, it's even that much better for me.
You mentioned that, it's his opinion that he's the best bantamweight of all time is kind of crazy to you, but is his name on your resume still a great name to have? Is he still one of the best?
No, he's definitely one of the best. I think it's crazy for him to say that he's the best. Based on what? I mean, you got Dominic Cruz, who still has the most wins based on his WC title wins and his UFC wins as well. I know it was a different era and different time, but he's still up there. It's like saying Anderson Silva's wins don't rank up to Izzy's right now. It's a different era. Izzy's fighting in a era where I would say people are much more talented based on when Anderson Silva had his crazy run. So I think it just depends on the people. The people have to look at those things and decide what's better and give us their judgment on who they think is the best. If I'm giving them my opinion, who's the greatest bantamweight of all time, I'm going to say it's Dominic Cruz. And I would like to think I'm right behind him. Not saying I'm the second best, but I think winning over TJ, I think who people highly regard, I think it puts me right in that conversation.
Alja, to kind of go back to the PED conversation, did you see Dana White's comments kind of praising TJ to a degree, saying, he owned up to it like a man? Do you feel like that was kind of strange, or what did you think of those comments?
Very strange, man. Dana's an interesting cat, man. I like Dana a lot, but some of the things I just have to wonder, like his reasoning and his rationale. Like, you're praising a guy who got caught and saying that he did it the right way and did it like a man. What is man? Like, what about that was manly? The guy got caught. He didn't come clean, Dana. I don't get it. And I think it's a very odd thing to say. Like, who else? There's been so many people who've popped, and a lot of them have been like real, like legitimate, like tainted stuff. And I don't get it. Like, what makes this situation more like a man versus anybody else? I really don't understand. Unless you got caught red-handed, you cheated. It's like having the needle in your hand, knowing you're about to do it, and you're like, no, I didn't. Then that's different. But saying that he's more of a man, it's a very weird and odd thing to say.
You are the only champion, technically, on this card. Do you know if that helps you a little more on the pay-per-view side?
And Oliveira. No, my contract is my contract, so I get paid what I'm going to get paid based on the numbers and the sales. It would have been nice if TJ actually did a little bit more trash talking and build the fight. Given the fact that he actually doesn't like me, I thought he would have been a little bit more vocal, but he tends to shy away when people attack him with words. It doesn't seem like he's very good with words. He's just more like, shut up, you're stupid. That's kind of his trash talk. We've seen that over the years. So it is what it is. I get paid what I get paid based on the numbers, and that's that. So whether or not Oliveira's got the belt by his name, which I look at him as a champ, I think the world looks at him as the champ. You don't get an hour to make weight and come back to be the same exact thing. So something had to have happened with that scale. That's my personal opinion on that whole situation. But yeah, that's that with the pay-per-view.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we had Sean O'Malley in here earlier, and I asked him what he thinks would be the bigger fight between you and him, or TJ and him, and he said you're not a draw and people don't care about you, and TJ would be the bigger fight. Do you disagree with that notion? Do you feel like people are pretty drawn to you in the sport, and you are someone that they want to throw down their money to see fight?
I mean, they keep putting me on these pay-per-view cards. I mean, I'm not like the opener like O'Malley has been, but they keep putting me on pay-per-view events, so there's got to be something to that. I think I hit a completely different demographic than TJ does. I think I'm more of a relatable person than TJ is, and we don't have the metrics. The UFC has those metrics and those numbers. We don't get to see those numbers, so I have no idea how to deem myself a draw. What are we basing that off of? We don't get pay-per-view cuts every single fight, so I don't know what O'Malley's getting that information from. I guess he's looking at his TikToks and things like that, and thinks that, like, just because you get 1 million TikTok views doesn't mean you're going to get $1 million. It doesn't quite work like that. It works on who's actually going to come out of their pocket and put money up to actually see you compete. So I like Sean, though. Sugar Tits is okay.
Do you think he is the biggest opponent for you in terms of like a sellable fight right now, or what do you think is, like, if you look at the entire landscape of the sport, who do you think is the biggest possible fight for you?
Honestly, I'm not even looking that far ahead. I really haven't. Like, this week has been the first time I've really been thinking about it. I really just want to smash TJ Dillashaw, and that's really it. Just envisioning different ways I get that guy out of that, get him out of the octagon, and a couple of different setups and traps that I got. Hopefully, he falls into one of them, and then from there I could start thinking about the winner of Jan and O'Malley, Cheeto, and everybody else, or if I'm going to stay at 35 or go up to 145. So there's a lot of different things that are spinning in my head right now, but the main focus, or should I say, a lot of things that are possible for me right now, but the main focus is just getting the win, man.
Do you think this will be the most satisfying victory of your career? Maybe a better question to ask after, or is it hard to beat the last one after the way the title came, the time off, the injury, all the hate? Is it going to be hard to beat that last fight with Piotr in terms of satisfaction?
Yeah, that was a very satisfying win, beating Mr. Piotr. But this one will be satisfying as well for different reasons. I'm a very simple man. I don't know. I like nice things. You win fights, good things happen. You make more money, you get more notoriety. I like a simple life in terms of, like, I don't need the cameras and all that stuff in my face and to have people bowing down and giving me things. Like, I'm a simple man. I treat myself the same way I treat everybody else, and I wish everyone did the same thing and treat everybody like just people. So for me, just going out there and getting the win is just all about adding to the legacy. It's not about anything else. And for me, it's just going to be like the evil Kermit in my head laughing as I'm whooping his ass. So that's what I think about.
Aljamain here. We've all seen your video with Jan when you shake your hands. Does it mean that your beef is now over?
I win and he wins. That beef is right back where it was before. I guarantee it. But I don't think it's like we hate each other. I think it's just two competitive guys, and when one guy doesn't want to back down, or should I say, neither guy wants to back down, I think you have an issue. You from there, you gotta solve it.
So how do you see his fight with O'Malley playing out?
I don't know, man. It's going to be a very technical fight. I think if Jan decides to just make it a straight-up kickboxing fight, it could be a very difficult fight for him with the range, the height disadvantage, the reach, and I think the footwork. I think footwork frustrates Jan a bit. But if he could go out there and make it a gritty fight, chop down the legs, attack the body of O'Malley, O'Malley can move his head and do all that crazy movement all he wants, but your body won't go nowhere. It's going to be right there. So Jan's got his keys to victory, so does O'Malley. It just depends on who's going to go out there and fight the smarter fight. And it's not a 5-round fight, it's a 3-round fight. So I think that honestly favors O'Malley. But we'll see if Jan, who's notoriously a slower starter, he started fast with me in the last fight, and it backfired on him. I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting fight. It's 3 rounds. We'll see who implements the game plan better.
So you're now fighting at the same card with him. Do you have it somewhere back in your mind, you might have to fight him at this card? Because we've seen a lot of crazy things happening, people not making weight here and there, people get shuffled throughout the card.
Yeah, I don't think TJ's going to miss weight, though. So I don't see anything crazy like that happening. But there's definitely going to be a trilogy. It's a fight people want to see. Some people think I'm 2-0. Some people say I'm 0-2. And some people think it's 1-1. So we're going to give the fans what they want at some point in our careers. And we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Aljamain, just over here. In terms of your last fight, the build-up for that was quite mentally exhausting with all the proving the doubters wrong and all the trolls, and just it was a long time and you had to come back and perform the way you did. Does that make preparation for this fight a little bit easier because you don't have to go through that mental side of things perhaps?
Nah, I mean, it's all the same. For me, that was just noise. You can ask any one of my teammates, my training partners. I did think I do a pretty good job of just tuning things out and being able to compartmentalize things and separate this from that and go out there and be able to compete. I got a lot of stuff going on in my life that people don't get to see or hear about, and it's just like everybody else, So we all got our shit and our own problems that we got to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and just because we're athletes and we're competing at the highest level doesn't make us exempt from that. So going to be hard to shake me, and I don't think the preparation. I think the preparation is kind of, I don't want to say similar, but it's just another fight camp. Just make sure you're getting better. Look at the tools that your opponent's going to bring. Check in his bucket. Make sure there's no needles in there, and just go out there and having a good time.
And you've got a great sparring partner in Merab in your team, but I want to ask you about 2 guys who are also there to train with you and spar with you, 2 British Afghans, the Basharat brothers.
Okay.
How good do you think they are, and how far do you think they'll go in the UFC?
They could go as far as they want to go, man. The sky's the limit for anybody. They have all the talent in the world. I've gotten to spar with both those guys, and they've come a long way since, I think, 2018 when I first met them in Liverpool. Not Liverpool, London. We trained back then. I was on my drinking tour. It was a victory lap. But I got to go see my grandma out there and everybody. So met them, trained with them, and then trained with them in Vegas. And they're high-level competition, man. So I think the sky's the limit. Both those guys, it's going to be interesting to see, if they get into a position like this, will they fight each other?
And just finally, how great is it to have 2 Jamaican champions in the UFC now? And how was it spending some time with Leon over the past week or so?
Leon's a cool dude, man. I wish we connected earlier in our careers. For some reason we didn't, but we're here now. And to see him, where he's come from, his storyline, all the fights falling through, COVID, eye pokes, so it's just been a crazy run for him. So it's inspiring to see him go through all that adversity and still get to a position where he could fight for the belt. And when it was starting to look bad, he found a way to win. And I'm friends with Usman as well, so that was kind of a bittersweet kind of thing to see. You never want to see a friend get put down like that. But of course, it was huge for the country and huge for Leon and his family as well. So those guys will do it again for a trilogy as well, and may the best man win. But it's been nice having him and having him in the room. He kind of just ran into the room and he was there, and it was cool to have him watching alongside and seeing what we were doing, how we were looking and training.
Thanks, Aljamain.
Hi, Aljamain.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little more about your camp? How has that been, and how has UAE treated you?
Camp's been good, man. We've been pushing the limits, doing sparring sessions with two bodies this time. Last time I did 3, but I thought that was a little too much, high risk for injury. This time we did 2, but we alternated rounds. So one guy, one round, round 2, new guy. Round 3, we had the first guy come back in again and just kind of getting that push where these guys are getting a break and then they're getting to push me while I'm tired. And things have been looking good, man. I'm very, very happy with my conditioning. I've added running to my workout. I never run. People think I'm crazy for that, but it's not a marathon, so I never figured to really run. I've done it before. I never really seen a difference, but we added some sprints, and I think things have been looking good. The UAE has been great. We started in Dubai. The hospitality there has been top-notch, taking care of us, the team. I didn't want to leave, so I'm hoping Abu Dhabi is going to be the same. From what I hear nothing but great things about Abu Dhabi as well. I can't wait to actually hang out here and visit the place and see some of the sights and eat some good food where I could get large and in charge again, get back up to 160-something pounds, be fat and happy. And yeah, man, that's what life is all about. I'm just enjoying the moment, taking it all in, and hopefully this card hopefully it delivers what we think it's going to do, because I think this is going to be a very special card for a long time.
Thanks, Sham.
Here, Aljamain. Question from the Georgian.
Gamajoba.
Gadimarjos. You spent the whole camp with Merab Dvalishvili, who's one of the best bantamweights in the world, and you are the champion, and you know the iron sharpens iron. And how important is it in your camp to have Merab?
Say that again?
You know the iron sharpens iron, and Merab is one of the best bantamweights in the world. You are the champion right now. How important is it for you to have Merab in the camp?
Oh, it's huge. People ask me about my conditioning. I said, if you need good conditioning, go get yourself a Merab. You get yourself a Merab and your conditioning would be no problem, So it's been great having him. We kind of came up around the same time. We both got to Cerro Longo around the same time, I think. I came down from college, and then I came back home to my high school and everything like that, and then I found a couple of gyms that I wanted to check out, went to Cerro Longo and never left, And he came around, I think, shortly after that. I remember our first sparring session was insane. I was like, I don't know who this guy is or where he came from, but I like him, And ever since then, him working on his English, getting better with that, and us being able to communicate better, more efficiently, and getting to see more of his personality, because he's a riot, man. He's such a good time to hang out with. He's probably one of the funniest guys. But you won't get it unless you actually hang out with him. And then you're like, yo, I get it now. He's a good dude, man. He's one of those guys who would take his shirt off of his own back and give it to anybody. That's just his personality and that type of thing. So to have him like that, man, it's good to have him out here. We've been a part of each other's camps for a couple of years now, traveling with each other across the world. And hopefully we have many more good memories to come.
Madluba.
Gamashola. Modi. Kargat.
Aljo, just one more for you. Earlier this week, on the heels of the Andrew Tate photos, a lot of Twitter backlash, things like that. Is there anything you want to clarify when it comes to that front, as far as anything you tweeted or the interpretation, anything like that? I just wanted to give you the opportunity.
Yeah. So I quote tweeted somebody that said what everybody else was saying, that they were coming down on me for it, and I was agreeing with the tweet. And I said, you're right. I 100% agree with you that Andrew Tate should not ever say that it's the responsibility of a victim. So people that were coming at me were completely wrong, and I was trying to explain that you misread the tweet, and then it would show me the same tweet. I'm like, you're not understanding what I'm saying. You are misreading the tweet because I'm quoting and I'm agreeing. I am on your side. I have 14 plus sisters, you know. I love my mom. I would never tell my mom if anything like that happened to them that it's your fault. That's just the craziest thing to ever say to anybody. That's like if you're in the hood and you're walking down a nice neighborhood or something and you're a person of color and you get shot because you have a hoodie on, that I'm telling you is your fault because you're walking down the street. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Why would I ever blame the victim? No, it's the person that's not taking the time to understand, you know? So the clarity on that is, I've never victim blamed anybody. I think that's just the craziest thing to even make an assumption like that. And if you don't understand what I said, ask me to clarify. Don't start jumping the gun and start throwing labels and shit like that. I think people are really crazy. And I think that's the problem with the world today. We're so quick to condemn people instead of actually giving each other a chance to reason and analyze what people are saying versus assuming and just making a judgment and being completely wrong. That's just the world that we live in today. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And with that said, hopefully TJ Dillashaw moves the needle this weekend at UFC 280.
Just a quick follow-up on that. Your response to when people say, oh, why don't you just stick to sport rather than, you know, preaching or saying give people a chance on social media? Because you just mentioned they're quick to jump to conclusions. And
yes.
That's the unfortunate world that we live in. So your response to people who, you know, might just, given the platform that you have, people who say just stick to sport, what's your response?
You know, for us to be athletes and people admire us and things like that, or look up to us, we're role models, this, that, and the third, or they want us to sponsor or endorse us, why have us do all that and then try to tell us we can't have an opinion? You know, are we not people too? You know what I mean? So you don't have to agree with everything that I say, but you can respect it. I don't have to agree with everything you say, but I can respect it. I can respect your choice. It's your body, your choice. You want to do things that you want to do the way you want to do it. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. And I think that's the issue. And if you're trying to tell athletes that we shouldn't interact or we shouldn't give opinions on things, then what kind of world would that be? That would be so boring, like, especially for us. Like, imagine me telling you, you should have no opinion on sport, which a lot of people, they do, and they've never even done the sport. And when they say stuff, I'm like just listening like, dude, this is madness. Like, what are you even talking about? You know, so it goes both ways. You can't tell us we can't have an opinion on the life that we actually live day in and day out, and then you can have an opinion on what we're doing and that you have no experience or credentials whatsoever. So I'm going to always keep being me. Ain't no one ever going to tell me to shut up and shut up and dribble, shut up and just fight. I'm going to be opinionated. I'm going to express myself. You can like it, you can hate it. Whatever you do, that's your choice. But you know, again, you don't have to, as long as I'm not hurting nobody, as long as I'm not causing any type of riots or anything like that, I think it's okay. And I think that's what makes the world a great place, because we can all be different people and coexist together.
Thank you. Wishing you the best.